Second video in this series, and it's a snow day.
This was really my first time ever driving in serious snow with any car. Overall, I had a safe and positive experience and managed to visit several state parks for some really good snow hikes. I did a lot of research about snow safety before I purchased this 2024 Tesla Model 3. I learned that all-wheel drive helps with going up hills and getting out of stuck situations. However, most crashes in the snow occur due to inadequate stopping time, which all-wheel drive does not help with. It turns out that snow or winter tires are what really matter the most when it comes to stopping in the snow. In fact, in the snow, a rear-wheel drive Tesla with snow tires is arguably safer than an all-wheel drive Tesla with all-season tires. Additionally, there's a misconception that big vehicles are safer in the snow. This leads to reckless driving, which is why often the vehicles you see crashing in these conditions are SUVs and trucks. For example, one time in rainy conditions, I was at a stoplight with a truck next to me. When it turned green, the truck tried to accelerate quickly, but just ended up spinning their tires loudly without going anywhere. My Tesla, though, hesitated for a second while it figured out the traction control before proceeding to accelerate without an issue. The traction control by Tesla is superb, whereas big trucks and SUVs give a false sense of security. Ultimately, I chose the all-wheel drive option because my city has some steep hills, including my driveway. Additionally, I can afford it, and I did not want to have any regrets. I also chose to go with the smallest wheels, 18 inches, because of efficiency and ride quality. When it comes to the range in the snow, I drove to several state parks in about 26-degree Fahrenheit temperature with some moderate wind. On this drive, for example, it was estimated that it would take 18% to go 40 miles, meaning I would arrive at my destination with 61% battery. In the end, I ended up arriving with 63%, and averaged 277 watt-hours per mile. The battery estimate was always accurate, or even sometimes very slightly too pessimistic. I primarily use full self-driving on my road trips, and often I will arrive with 1 or 2% more battery than originally estimated. The snow did not seem to have any effect on my range. Cold temperatures and wind are by far the biggest range killers, and I have driven in much harsher conditions before. Overall, I had a good snow driving experience. The only issue I encountered was an unplowed parking lot. Now, this is when a truck would come in handy. Since I was in a remote location, I decided that
It's a no-go. It's too risky. I've never driven more than an inch of snow. This is the most I've driven on my whole life today, and this is quite deep here.
another state park that I went to was half plowed, and since I was closer to home and there were other cars parked, I gave the deep snow a shot. As you can see, I had zero issues with maneuvering through the various turns and going in reverse. Going up hills was also a piece of cake, with no sign of struggle from the all-wheel drive system and stock all-season tires. I barely even noticed the climb. Going down was a different story though. I was pushing hard on the brake, but it took forever to stop. This is because all-wheel drive does not help here. In order to stop sooner, I need winter tires. If I were to be driving more often in the snow, then I'd for sure get them. But to be clear, I would do that regardless of which vehicle I owned. Overall, I am happy with how my Tesla performed in the snow when it comes to safety. I was able to visit several state parks and capture some cool adventure videos, which I have posted on this channel as well.